And that's what we're going to go into. We're going to do a little food time. Is everybody ready for that? We'll do a little food time. And actually, before the food time, let's go into a little bit of Epstein-Barr. Let's go into a little bit of viral time. Let's do that. Now, in order to keep a virus happy, technically, you really have to be feeding foods that viruses love. That's another factor of it. So not only do you have chemicals and poisons and toxins and all these different things that are in your system that you can get from all these different solvents and all the exposure I talked about, but you can also be eating all the wrong foods. And viruses love the wrong foods. Now, if you don't feed the viruses the wrong foods anymore, and you just have the toxins, you might not get cancer. You might even be able to stop it. It's the food component that falls into the whole thing too, the real bad foods that actually falls into it. But Epstein-Barr, which is really somewhat of a docile virus, and it's not really supposed to create cancers or anything. It gets fed all the things it wants. And, there's different strains of Epstein-Barr. I talk about it in, all the time, you guys. You've heard all my different shows. I won't go deep into it. I'm going to talk about the 60 different varieties that I've found over the years. Nobody knows about different mutated varieties. I mean, I remember just 7 years ago talking to a chemist and a biologist and an immunologist, talking to all three of them because it was about a patient. And I was explaining about their patient and my client, and I was talking about the different variety of the mutations of Epstein-Barr, and they couldn't even believe it. Now, some guys are just like, yeah, you know what, I believe that viruses probably do mutate, and it's actually, for some reason, people can digest it better now. It's amazing how time has to go by. It's sad. It's really sad though that it has to go by like that. So what happens is you got the virus cells. Viral cancer cells tend to also teach the human cancer cells what to eat. Like I was talking about, what to like. And that's why a tumor can grow bigger and bigger. If it has a lot of mutated human cells in that tumor, it'll start getting an appetite of what that virus likes. Like, for instance, an Epstein-Barr loves dairy products and loves eggs. And it loves all these different foods we're going to cover in a little bit. But let's talk about Epstein-Barr cancers. Carcinoma, it's all Epstein-Barr cancer. Every carcinoma is Epstein-Barr. It's a variety of Epstein-Barr that's been mutated and can create cancer. And that's all the carcinomas. And if you have Epstein-Barr, you don't have to worry. It's not about you're going to get cancer or not. No. So you can do things so that you don't get cancer. You can do things so you can stop cancers. You can do things, and that's what this information is about. Epstein-Barr is literally responsible for all the carcinomas. It's responsible for every prostate cancer. It's responsible for every leukemia. Some leukemias have heavy metals behind them, but you need the virus. Remember what I talked about before. You have to have a toxin, and you have to have a virus. All the leukemias are Epstein-Barr. Children's leukemia, Epstein-Barr, with heavy metal, preferably mercury. And so all the prostate cancers, all the breast cancers, I repeat, all the breast cancers, Epstein-Barr. I've been saying that forever, and now it's information that's finally starting to take. That information is just starting to surface, but I promise you, I've been saying that forever. I'll go all the way back in time on that one. Breast cancer, Epstein-Barr, 100%. Lung cancers, most lung cancers are Epstein-Barr. Asbestos lung cancer, no, it's not Epstein-Barr. Thyroid cancer is Epstein-Barr. All liver cancers, Epstein-Barr. Some brain cancers, Epstein-Barr. Very important to understand. So that's just the tip of the iceberg right there. Tip of the iceberg. Right now, it's starting. The word for HPV is starting to get out, where HPV creates cervical cancer, it creates different cancers, ovarian cancer, creates and that's out there now, and it's HPV. But HPV is always present, but it's Epstein-Barr that creates ovarian cancers, all the ovarian cancers, all the cervical cancers, all the uterine cancers. That's Epstein-Barr that creates those cancers. It's just that the more Epstein-Barr you have in the reproductive system, which a lot of women have a lot of Epstein-Barr in the reproductive system, the more HPV, because the immune system is lowered in the reproductive system. The reproductive system's immune system is dropped down, so you can have higher HPV. If you're killing off HPV by eating healthy and doing all these wonderful things and everything, and you notice HPV is going down, or a doctor says, hey, you don't have HPV anymore, chances are you knocked down your Epstein-Barr at the same time and had no clue. I'm not saying HPV is this great friendly virus that causes no harm at all. It can cause scar tissue. But that's not the scar tissue that's behind the Epstein-Barr reproductive cancers. It's this important bit of information I'd like to get across. Let's talk about HHV6 really quick. HHV6 creates kidney cancers. That's a human herpes virus, HHV6. All the HHV7s, the 8s, sarcoma, okay? That's a herpes virus. But science and research knows that one too, that that's a herpes virus. But there's also HHV9, 10, undiscovered HHV11, undiscovered HV12. I talk about in my herpes show. Those are all cancer promoters, cancer creators. All the different mutations of HHV6 actually create a lot of different cancers. Heart cancers, cancers of the heart, cancers of the stomach. Epstein-Barr can create cancers of the pancreas. HHV6, kidney cancer. That's one of its biggest, heart cancer. Different types of connective tissue cancer for HHV6, different brain cancers for HHV6 and its mutated forms. So it's really the herpes viral family as that unit of all of them, from cytomegalovirus, which is kind of docile but could create a cancer. And the herpes family is mostly responsible, not entirely, most responsible being that other piece that you need to create cancer along with all those toxins we talked about before.